My name is Dan Young, and welcome to the Millionaire Code podcast. I'm a self-made guy that has made multi-million-dollar businesses from scratch. There's no way I could have done it without the help of mentors who provided me with the wisdom and guidance to help me create the formula for success. Each week on my podcast, I'm going to interview a hugely successful business person that will provide you their secrets to success, and that way can act as your mentor too. I can't wait to share their stories and takeaways with you. Welcome to Dan's Millionaire Code. Hey guys and gals, welcome to Dan's Millionaire Code, where you guys know every week I'll bring in a millionaire, a billionaire, some sort of person who changes the whole universe on a daily basis. And remember, this podcast is not paid, sponsored, or anything by anybody. It's free. And these super Jedi come in and share their personal experiences of what made them so successful with you. And why do I do this, and why do a lot of our guests do this? To pay it forward. So if you find this useful, execute, and share it. Please share it with all your friends. Remember, it's going to also be on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, everything like that. And rate it a 5-star if you like it as well. That's how you can help us with this. Today's guest is a great friend of mine. His name is Jason Harwood. So welcome.
Thank you.
And kind of an interesting way that we met. We met on a private jet, and we got invited to some marketing conference, right, in Idaho?
Yep.
And it was full of crazy millionaire, influencer, entrepreneurs, and a lot of us didn't know each other even.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Which is crazy.
Even on the flight, I think I only knew Sean before.
Crazy Sean Whalen, yeah. He was one of our first guests as well. And but it's so weird, the connection. And we all met on this private jet, and we just got all to know each other and got to hang out, and it was cool. Yeah. But your story is interesting. And from what I know so far from what you've told me is, one thing I do remember, you daily drive a Lambo.
I do, yep. I daily drive a Lambo. Just got a new one, upgraded to a Huracan, and got 15,000 miles on it so far.
Dude. So snow.
Oh, yeah.
Anything like that. Summer, rain, and you put snow tires on that.
Yeah, it actually does better than my truck. So I have the Duramax too, and it sucks in the snow. So I just take the Lambo. And
is it just well balanced? Is that why?
I don't know.
The engine sitting there.
I'm more comfortable. If it slides, I don't really worry about it. I can just keep going.
So didn't you have a sticker or a license plate, something that said dropout?
Dropout, yep. I am a high school dropout.
Yeah.
I dropped out of high school. I technically went to college for a semester, took 3 classes. For some reason, I thought I wanted to be an attorney, which I definitely did not. So dropped out of there. Apparently, they don't ask you if you have a diploma, too. I always had the idea that you had to graduate college or high school to go to college, but they didn't ask for anything, so.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. So, drop out, but also, did you go to school after that? Was that it?
That's it.
Just straight into the business world, right?
Yep.
All right. That's pretty cool. So, I remember we've been talking a little bit, and you told me you had a pretty good year. You came into a couple extra $1 million or something, and you're like, so Dan, what should I do with this? And we talked a little bit about dollar cost averaging, and real estate, and just some different things that myself and some other people in our circle, are doing and stuff like that. So did you figure out a little bit what you did with some of your fresh earnings and winnings?
Yeah, I took your advice on the play part for sure. So I definitely bought some fun things to play with. Ended up buying a couple houses and putting a couple $100,000 into the stock market, which has been interesting.
It has been interesting,
but just like you said, kind of diversifying a little bit and just don't blow it all.
Good. Yeah. Well, the beauty about it is this, when there's market volatility, as we've always talked about, my mentors have taught me, and I try to share, is just consistently every month pay yourself first, right? I mean, it's an old cliche, but set aside a certain amount, make sure that you're investing that first, and then set aside a certain amount for stupid stuff, because literally we could be taking a crap and have an aneurysm and full on have a Pulp Fiction moment, or something. Yep. I mean, that could happen. So, enjoying that is important. So
definitely.
So speaking about enjoying, though, let's talk about some fun stuff. I keep seeing your videos on Instagram, and you are racing. So you have a daily Lambo. Mm-hmm. You have a race Lambo?
I have a race Lambo, yeah. I have a Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo.
Wow.
So it's just the race prepped Lambo and not street legal or anything. You just take it out on the track and
Wow.
and show Porsches they're slow.
So where are you racing, man? Like, and you know, where are you going? Just a couple particular tracks? You traveling around?
This year we plan to travel a lot. Last year was our first. I ran half the season in the Super Trofeo, so we just ran out at Utah Motorsports Campus. Did a lot of, I mean, at least once a month. Was out there for a full weekend. Generally went out twice a month and went out and practiced and did different things. Towards the end of the year, I finally got comfortable. We actually raced a 6-hour endurance race.
That's a lot.
It is a long race. We ended up taking first overall. There was a lot of really big competition out there. It was pretty crazy. My car lit on fire during a refuel, which was insane. Put it out, got no penalties.
Car's okay?
Car was totally fine. It burnt one of the stickers. Afterwards, got a new wrap. But yeah, no, it was totally fine.
Dude.
And, ended up taking first overall, so it worked out pretty good.
Good work.
Yeah.
Did you have professional driving instructors to learn how to drive like this?
Oh, yeah. Driving's weird. Going into it, I was like, oh, I know how to drive. This is no big deal. And it didn't take very long to realize that I sucked. And so, yeah, I hired a guy named James Burke. He's a professional driver, and he's come in and really helped me step up my game and push the car to its limits.
First place, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's no easy feat to do first place.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. A lot of the Jedi entrepreneur maniacs do a lot of racing. Does it? Earl Whalen, Sean Whalen does Baja.
Oh yeah.
In Mexico, right?
Yep.
He's the off-road dude. You're the track dude, and that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
It's exciting. And so I think you gave me a little bit of your story originally when we were having one of those healthy vitamin drinks.
Yeah.
And that is, you sold just stickers and crazy stuff and propaganda stuff. I mean, maybe walk us through kind of your story a little bit of how you got started. Like maybe a little bit on your upbringing of kind of what got your brain wired to do this, and talk about how you got there.
Okay. I mean, it goes back, I guess, quite a ways. Back when I was in high school still, I wanted to make money for different things. And I figured out that I could go to the dollar store and find stuff that I thought was worth more than $1. I think people actually teach this stuff now. But so I'd go through, I found like, those little egg things that were rocks that you can get at the dollar store for $1. You get them at some other good store for $15. So I'd grab those from the dollar store, sell them on eBay, and sell them for like $10, $15. And at the time, I was able to sell a bunch of things. In fact, if they had a lot of eggs, I'd just go to the store and take photos of eggs and then go sell them. And then if they sold, I'd go back to the dollar store and get them. And
smart.
If they're like, I sold so many things, like little mini poker tables, like all sorts of just random stuff. And that's where my whole online thing started, was in high school selling stuff from the dollar store on eBay. And at the time, I didn't realize that I was even doing anything special. I didn't realize that it was a start of anything or that I was starting to learn different things. I just did it because I was like, oh, look, I can make $100 a day by selling random stuff on eBay. So from there, kind of outside of high school, it slowed down. I stopped doing it for a while. I went and got a job, did that stuff for a little while. Decided I was going to start an automotive shop, which was a terrible idea. Did that for 7 years.
Wow. You were a mechanic? Like fixing stuff?
Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. Yeah, so I was.
Well, that's why you know the cars, bro.
Yeah, that's why I'm obsessed with cars, I guess. Yeah, so no, I loved it. When I first started, it was really fun. Got to work on really cool stuff. At some point along the way, I realized that making $25,000 a year working 70-hour work weeks is just not gonna get me anywhere. And I ended up shutting it down in 2011.
Wow.
Yeah. Went and got a job for a couple weeks. Decided that was definitely not what I wanted to do either. And so that's when I started moving into the sticker business. So I started a sticker business. My wife wouldn't let me quit my job unless I had an actual business model or a plan or something. She wasn't going to let me be a bum. And so it was a joke, basically. I had a sticker machine that I had from my automotive shop. And I wrote up this business plan about how I'm going to sell stickers and it's going to pay for everything. And somehow my wife believed me and quit, and I started selling stickers. So we started doing it in February 2012.
Wow.
And I had to sell like 480 stickers a month. It would pay all of our bills.
Right.
And
what kind of stickers are these?
Dude, just like vinyl die-cut stickers that are just, letters or one-colored stuff, not printed, really basic.
Really?
Yeah, words.
Wow.
Yeah, like the Live, Laugh, Loves, or the stick figure families that everybody's seen
Wow.
years ago, whatever. So yeah, we drew up that plan in February, and I went back to my roots, went back to eBay, and the very first month we sold over that, and that was again in February. We fast forward to December, we got through eBay and Amazon. In December, I sold 32,000 stickers.
Holy crap.
And I mean, it just exploded from there, and I kept learning new things, and yeah.
She's the sticker guy, man.
I was the sticker guy. I don't even sell stickers anymore. I have machines just in case I need them sitting in the storage room, but.
Wow. What do you sell now? What's the...
Man, we sell everything now.
Because you went crazy, though. Like, lately, I mean, in this last couple of years or so, right?
Oh, yeah.
You've really just...
Yeah.
I mean, this is the phone call. Hey Dan, gosh, I've just been doing pretty good. I'm like, well, how good? You made extra $100,000, a couple $100,000, a few $100,000 or something last? No, I made extra $2 million, man. Like, what do I do with that? You know?
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird problem. You go from... I mean, you get an extra 100,000, like, yeah, I know how to spend that. I can spend that on stuff and make more money. I can spend that into other things. And I'm like, I don't think there's no reason why I'd ever run out of, like, I can keep spending all my own money and I can keep doing it all myself. It's no big deal. And then I got to that position where all of a sudden it's like, okay, now I got $2 million. I don't even know what I can spend that on because I could take, $500,000 and keep spending that and keep doing really well, but I just don't know what to do. So yeah, that's when I called you and you're like, all right.
So you got this warehouse now, right?
I got
your office warehouse. And have you bought those yet? Have you?
So I bought the office warehouse that all my employees are at. I have another overflow warehouse that I'm just renting. And then, yeah.
That was my problem, is buying small. And so I had them from, north to south to central, 10,000 square foot here, 15,000. Finally, we're like, you just go for the behemoth. Yeah. Get a big one, 50,000 square foot, 100,000 square footer, and centralize a little bit,
Yeah.
And it tends to be a little better. But right now, I think, my crystal ball is broken. But I do see a lot of good opportunities, especially you're seeing a lot of these Kmarts that are closing and Sears that are closing. And for guys and girls that do have the resources, you can steal some of these. Like this building we're in now, this thing is like almost 4 acres, right? This thing. And I think we got it for half price, because we just walk in and make the offer. And one thing I always say is buy in the dead of winter, because nobody wants to heat an empty building.
That's true.
I mean, so right now, boy, you should be driving around your Lambo looking for bargains, man, because people are scared right now, right? Because some of the market fluctuations.
Yeah.
So when there's fear in the air and it's cold as winter, and when the joke is like when people say winter is coming, we're like, now it's time to go shop, right?
Yeah.
That's the time, and it's a great time. It's a great time and a great opportunity. And the beautiful thing is, so how was your holiday season? Pretty good?
Oh, we crushed it. We crushed it every holiday.
Is it crazy?
Yeah.
Wow. So a lot of surplus cash flow coming through.
A lot of cash flow. Yeah, pulling out all of our inventory is getting run out. So we're cash high right now.
Think about this though too, and for the viewers out there, anything that you buy now is probably 10 to 30% less cost. In many different areas as far as investments go right now. So if you can crank up your production and income in your business, all that extra money is actually probably worth 20, 30% more buying power now. And that probably will increase if we take rate increases, tariffs, all this kind of stuff like that. It's going to be a grand opportunity for everyone who's cash flowing.
Oh, yeah.
So, and this is why I wanted to bring you on, because it doesn't seem like you have any problems cash flowing. It's figuring out what you're going to invest in.
Yes,
good problem to have, right?
I think it's a great problem to have.
and it's great also hearing the story from when you were making $25,000 a year just a blink ago.
Yeah.
To where you are now. And to think about this, how old are you now?
32.
Young dude, right? 32. Just getting started, right?
That's why hopefully just getting started.
Just getting started and building your empire. So this is great. And I really appreciate you coming on, because a lot of our listeners out there are younger guys and girls, and they're just getting started, whether they're in their 20s or 30s or stuff like that. And the ability to time is one thing, man. If you can get going a little bit early, it gives you that advantage. But an interesting thing is this, though, and I wanted the viewers to understand, though. I talked to one of the other guests that's going to be on our show. His name is Vern Dickman. And he started one of the largest chains of AT&T phone retailer stores. Ended up selling, they had like 1,500 of these. And he started this company when he was 58 years old, which is kind of crazy. from 58 years old. You might have known him as Video Vern. That was his nickname because he had these video stores. You know how video stores ended up doing at the end, you know.
Oh, yeah, great.
But it's never too late to get going, though. But it's also never too early.
Right.
To get going.
Honestly, I think it's easier. It's so much easier when you're early on. I mean, before you have kids, maybe even before you're married, to start doing that stuff, just because you don't have anything to lose. I mean, it gets harder to make that jump into doing your own thing or taking more risk. It's hard to do that when you got kids at home and you got things like that. I mean, I would say still do it. It's a harder decision to make.
You have kids now?
I do. I have two.
What ages are they now?
6 and 3.
So they're little?
They're little.
Yeah. I bet the wife helps you. Your wife helps you quite a bit too.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are like super good buddies. I see you guys all over the social media. So you guys hanging out and like always doing fun stuff and bringing the kids and doing that. And you're like at every almost jazz game out there, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So she's been a good partner for you these years. And you guys, it sounds like, have supported each other pretty well.
We have a crazy, amazing relationship, honestly. She supports me through my crazy stuff. Like, just the stuff that she okays just blows my mind that she's okay with. I mean, most of my buddies, it's like, there's no way this could ever happen for me. And my wife's super supportive. And it goes the other way, too. I'm super supportive of her. She does some crazy, awesome stuff. She's probably more of a legend than I am. But, I mean, there's no chance that I'd be where I am right now without her. So,
wow. That's super great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, in fact, in one of the previous videos that I did is we're talking about agreements with your significant other in your life, whether it's your husband or wife, girlfriend, boyfriend. Have an agreement and share a lot of mutual goals. And then you can work towards it together, because it's kind of weird when a couple is going in different directions. Yep. And I found, at least in my marriage, when alignment is there, success is super easy. When there's disalignment and differing goals, boy, it can get rough.
Oh, absolutely.
So you guys seem very aligned.
Yeah, all the time. It comes down to communication, I think, for sure. As long as you're communicating, at least for me and my wife, as long as we're communicating, we know we're reaching for the same stuff, and it makes it real easy. If I go spend and do a 24-hour day at work, there's no anger or frustration that I'm spending all this time at work, because we're both on the same page that we're reaching for this goal. And it goes both ways, where we know we're reaching for this goal. So if I decide I'm going to go play and go racing for a weekend, there's also not frustration that I'm not at the office doing things, or I'm not at home. Like it all comes down to communication, I think.
Is there a ritual you guys do to communicate? You write it down? Do you like go to date night and figure it out? Or how do you do it? What's your process?
Man, I should figure out what our process is. I don't even know what it is. We communicate all the time. We're always talking, and I mean, there's nothing formal. We don't usually sit down and have brainstorming sessions about what we want to do next or anything. I think it's more just when we are talking about stuff, we're listening and having communication, I guess. But
maybe that's a next episode podcast. We can bring both you guys on and you can talk about that, because I think that's a factor that a lot of entrepreneurs don't think about.
Oh, yeah.
They're thinking, I want a conquest, I want to do this, but they either forget their family or separate. And even I've had kind of, I think over the years, some of that where I'm on this agenda to really scale something, and sometimes haven't been in alignment in my relationships, and that's been a struggle sometimes. And and it's easier to, I guess, do some preventative maintenance and plan together instead of drifting apart and then, maybe not working out or having to figure it out at the last minute.
Yeah. All of a sudden you're on totally different islands, and trying to figure out how to get back on the same islands can be difficult sometimes. So
here's the crazy thing: if we look at, let's say, the last 4 or 5 people I've had on the podcast that are making millions and millions of dollars, more than half of them, more of half the guests have been through a major divorce, usually right at the peak of their big, huge $3 billion deal, $2 billion deal, because of that same thing.
Yeah.
And I'd probably say, just watching your social media as your friend, you don't fake it. That's what's an interesting thing. It's just it's very raw, and this is what we're doing, and so everything you talk about is very transparent and true. So I think that's gold, and I think everyone should follow your stuff. So at the end we'll share some. But on Instagram, is that where you put most of your personal stuff?
Yeah, Instagram is usually where I'm at.
Okay, we'll put a link also. It's just Jason Harwood.
Yep.
There you go. Harwood. At Jason Harwood. There you go. Okay, so let's see, man. Gosh, man, it's so great having you here. So as far as like getting big in Amazon or just internet sales in general, is it Amazon that's the big focus now still?
Depends on who you ask. So there's a lot of things that happen. So obviously when I first got back into it, eBay was still massive. There's a lot of money there. Amazon obviously came in and with crazy force. Now I don't do anything on Amazon. I've been burned by Amazon a few too many times.
Wow.
So
no Amazon. I gotta take notes on that.
I do zero Amazon. I think last year was the last year I did anything, and I think I did like 30 grand on Amazon.
Wow.
This year I didn't do any. Amazon's changing, so it's becoming just a slugfest. And the thing that sucks is when you go to China or wherever and get some product, and you bring it here, if you bring in 10,000 pieces, somebody else is going to see that you did it and successfully within a couple of weeks. And they're going to go to China, they're going to order 50,000 because they got deeper pockets than you. They're going to get better pricing. You're both going to end up on Amazon. You're going to play a pricing game. And you're going to dive all the way down to the person that only ordered 10,000 is going to be breaking even, and the person that ordered 50,000 is going to make 3 cents. And that's not really a game I like to play.
Oh, wow.
And so, yeah, so pretty much anything. They have these things called scrapers now. It's just software that will basically scrape Amazon. And so you can go out, you can find out what's selling really well in a matter of seconds. And Scrapers, man, go find them. It'll tell you what's winning, and it's really easy to tell what's winning. And all you do is you just go and knock it off, and that's what everybody does right now. Wow. So I got out of that game because.
So what's the best technique now that you can share with people if they want to sell whatever they're selling, you know?
Yeah, I think there's a stage. You have to progress. You can't. I don't know that there's like a quick lane to what I'm doing now. Because there's things you have to learn along the way that you can't just, there's too many problem solving things you have to figure out. And so I could tell you like shortcuts and things like that, but as soon as you hit like that shortcut doesn't work anymore, you're going to be hosed because you got to figure out how to solve those problems. So there's nothing wrong with learning how to sell on eBay or Amazon still. It's just generally you're not going to have long-term wins. Once you start figuring out what people want, like what photos to use, how it's a different beast when you're selling something online because people can't touch it, they can't feel it, they can't smell it. And so you have to describe things in a way that keep people engaged and make it as though they almost are touching it and feeling it, if that makes sense. And so you can learn a lot of that through Amazon, like things that they make you do, like their bullet points. They make you do bullet points. They make you have images with no backgrounds that are just... And so they shortcut this stuff. And if you pay attention, there's other things too, like above the fold, below the fold stuff. Like if you land on an Amazon page, wherever you're like right at the top when you see your product, there's always the option to buy it. You will always see it at the very top because they know that the second you scroll, the probability of you buying goes down like 60%.
So top of the fold, you want to be
at
the very top
of the page. You want to have a buy option. And they know that as soon as you scroll, again, you're probably not going to buy that product, so they're going to start showing you other people's products.
Wow.
And so it's really important on Amazon to make sure that your images are compelling enough and you have enough options there that they can stay above the fold and make that purchasing decision without scrolling and seeing competition and all the other stuff. So there's stuff like that you need to learn, and you'll learn it by doing it. Once you learn that stuff, the nice thing about Amazon is that it brings you all the buyers. So you don't have to worry about buyers. You just have to worry about selling it. Once you figure out how to sell it, though, you can go get your own buyers. And that's when you make a jump to more of what I'm doing. So right now, I go get all of my own buyers. And it costs me money to go get them, but I'm also getting, instead of competing with anybody, I can sell something you can find on Amazon for $10. I can sell it for $35 because I'm not playing a pricing war, and I can spend $10.
So you're doing that through display, PPC, pay-per-click, or Instagram ads, Facebook ads?
Everything, yep.
All over social media?
All over social media.
YouTube,
everything. I have not done very well on YouTube, but yeah, YouTube.
Twitch,
I've never done anything on Twitch, actually. I should make that
it's
jump.
a hot market, maybe.
Yeah. So.
Wow, that's pretty cool, though. So to get started, the kid right now who's listening, that guy or that girl that's hawking stuff from garage sales or from dollar stores and stuff, what's the first step they need to do? One of the examples is my daughter. She started nayashop.com. She's an artist, and she's trying to figure it out, trying to get her photos better because they're really crappy at first, and getting a little bit better and better. And then now she's making sales. She's like, oh, I'm going to UPS. We're going to go ship my stuff. Hey, I'm making a little living, supplementing my job. So as like an 18-year-old getting started, she's like there. What advice would you give that 18-year-old?
Learn. Man, I wish that I was paying attention more when I was first starting this stuff and doing it from not necessarily a perspective of I'm doing this to make the money, because right now, even if you're 18 and you're making $10, $50, $100 a day, that's cool. For me, I got super distracted in that, thinking that that's where it was at, is that I was making money. What I could have been focusing on instead was what I'm doing that's working and what I'm doing that's not working, and figuring out and compiling like reasoning behind why people are buying what they're buying, and taking a deeper look at what it is that I'm doing, and try to learn from it, as opposed to just say, oh, this sold, cool, let's get more of these, or this happened to work, and compiling that stuff. Does that make sense?
So compiling your data of what's working, not working, and thinking deeper. Maybe the psychology of that.
Yeah.
Not just, hey, we happen to be doing good.
Right.
So not being shallow.
Yeah.
Maybe creating a process. Some A/B testing, is that what maybe you're talking about?
Tons of A/B testing, and start, man, look at the results from both the stuff that's working and not working, I guess, too. Because when I was doing it again, I was looking at the stuff and saying, oh, this was working. Stuff that didn't work, I just wrote off. And I didn't really pay any attention to why it didn't work. And I mean, there's a lot of hindsight stuff that you can see now that I've grown past it and done other things where I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, that would have totally worked if I would have tweaked these things or done this or whatever. Just stuff you learn along the way from successes. I think you can learn equally as fast from the failures.
Wow. That's huge, though. That's good advice, though, because a lot of people don't think about that. I think about it myself. A lot of times we're like, oh, people just love this product, but why? And what are we doing? Getting a little deeper into that.
Yeah.
That's interesting, to slow down sometimes to think about and document those things.
Yeah.
That's kind of how, when we had, in our business 26 years ago, we started in the basement of my house, right? Did you start at your house too?
Oh yeah, my apartment.
Yeah, apartment, yeah.
First employee worked out of my second bedroom.
Yes. And I remember, though, to replicate, though, was taking all the processes and documenting them so that they're replicatable, especially as you get more employees and those things now. You got a bunch of people working for you now?
I'm up to 16.
Holy mackerel,
we had
good.
6 last year, so
it's pretty big.
We got a lot bigger.
Wow. Any challenges managing all that help, though? I mean, it is a big deal going from 1 to 6 to 16, and I can definitely relate.
It's hard. I think that I went from 1 employee to 6 employees pretty quick. It was that jump from 6 where I felt like I had to manage everybody, and I couldn't manage more than 6 people myself. And so the jump from 6 to 16 was more of a mindset shift than anything, I think. But as soon as I just let go of stuff, I let my employees make decisions, and whether they're right or wrong didn't matter as long as they had reasoning behind why they chose it. And that just changed everything. It freed up tons of my time. And I think that if you give employees power to make important decisions, generally they'll make the best decisions they can make, and that's way better than them waiting for me to make a decision. So it's worked out great. That's
awesome. I got to learn from you a little bit because we've scaled quite a bit, about 130 now, and the rule of thumb that I've tried to put into place now is, look, as long as if I see it as not as a fatal process decision, something that is business detrimental, like a grand scope, you let people execute through, learn from it, measure their results. But maybe follow some of your sage advice is seeing what's working and what's not working, thinking a little deeper, a little that reflection on what is and what isn't. Because one thing that I've experienced, I don't know if you've experienced too, is you ever have somebody on the team, they keep doing the same mistake over and over again? Mm-hmm. That's where a little tiny bit of micromanagement needs to come in and go, dude, maybe go left instead of running into the wall every time.
Yep.
Yeah,
definitely. I mean, there's sometimes you got to step in and do some course correction on stuff, I think. But again, for them, as long as there's a sound reasoning behind why they made the decision, I don't have to correct anything. They have sound decision. It's like, well, that's not true. Sometimes I'll have to correct it still, but there's no frustration in that. The parts that frustrate, I think, me is when they make a decision and they're like, oh, I don't know, I just did it because it was an option. And it's like, okay, that's not a great decision. So let's step back and let's look at what options there actually are, Wow. But I mean, generally speaking, I haven't had very many problems. I've lucked out.
This is awesome, man.
So
maybe you'll write a book on that. So through the years of your progress here, we've all had obviously great moments of victory, right? But we always have that moment of fear, that cold sweat, and maybe I call it pillow talk when your wife's there, you're there in the evening, you're like, oh, and you talk to your wife, you're like, this could, and I'm kind of worried that this is, you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
What's the biggest challenge you've had, like, in your growth and, you know, and how'd you deal with it? Biggest fear?
Oh, man, not even
or
fear.
Failure.
Failure probably is going to be I mean, I've had tons of failures. I've definitely grown to adapt to those now, but I think the first one was when we first started doing really well on Amazon. It was shortly after that 32,000 sticker sales in December. I think it was probably January, February. Amazon decided that what we were doing was not what they wanted us to do, and they shut our account down.
Oh, jeez.
So we lost. At that point, Amazon was 90% of our business. They shut us down.
Oh.
Once you have an Amazon account, you can't ever set up another one. All these rules, stipulations, things. I remember I was actually on my boat in the middle of Utah Lake.
Jeez.
And I got a phone call saying, hey, we're host. What do we need to do? And it was probably a week of just, we're effed. I don't have any options.
Oh, jeez.
I mean, it was really, I thought that we were going to have to go back to, I mean, maybe I had to go get a job again. And if you know me, that's probably the worst thing that could ever happen is to get a job again.
Or school.
Or school. I just walked out and they kicked me out. That's not even a big deal. But, yeah, so I mean, I remember probably the hardest thing I've had to come back from was that. I mean, I definitely went into a slump. Drank a bunch, sat at home, didn't do anything.
Oh, man.
I played Halo a lot, played some Nintendo, trying to cope, I guess. I want to say it was like 2 months. Our bank account's starting to just drain. I'm still paying employees for the 10% of what we were doing before. And I don't know, at some point I got over myself, got over the problem, and I was like, all right, let's just figure it out. If there's anything I'm good at, that's what it is figuring out problems. So started jumping through hoops, figuring out some things, figured out that I could put a computer up in my friend's house and then remote into it, and then we could set up a new business entity and set up an Amazon account under a new business and jump through all these crazy hoops so they wouldn't track that it was us, all these crazy things. Set up a new Amazon store, started transferring stuff over, had to change our whole SKU system so that Amazon didn't recognize it. But yeah, I mean, from the minute I decided, okay, let's just fix the problem as opposed to, have a pity party. It was probably 3 days and we were back up and going, and we were probably going at 60% steam in 3 days.
Wow.
But I also learned from that mistake. So it was probably a week after we got it rolling again, I set up another one in another location. So I had 2 stores going at all times, and I had all sorts of just things set up so that I don't have to have this month downtime of me having a pity party. I could just jump right to
That's cool.
doing stuff again.
And now the whole irony of it now is Amazon, it's not your main vehicle now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so you did all that, you learned.
Yep.
And now you figure out a better, safer way
Yep.
and more diversified way to keep your income stream.
Yeah.
coming
Yeah,
in.
it's nice to, I mean, I found reliancies along the way. Obviously, I was reliant on Amazon. And if they wanted to smash me with their band hammer, then I was essentially done. And so, yeah, that's part of what pushed me into more like finding my own people, because they can't stop me from finding my own people.
What's your ultimate, what would be a fear now that you have that could happen in the future that would affect what you do?
Oh, man. There's a lot of things that could happen. There's not, I mean, geez. The internet could get censored. That's totally something that could happen. We could lose a credit card processing account. All these things that could happen, they're not really that scary anymore, because I just know that I could solve the problem. We lose a credit card processing account, it's like, in 2 days I'll have a new one. Mm-hmm. And I've never lost one, so I don't know what that's like or how much pain it's going to cause me. But there's things like I spend a lot of money on Facebook. Maybe Facebook's going to go away. Maybe Facebook's going to change their ads. Maybe Facebook will pull a band hammer move on me and say, hey, you're done. I don't know. But there's still things where we've diversified and have different things. We still have other ad networks. We've got CPA networks. We've got different things we can still do. But, yeah.
There's a trick, actually, that an old mentor taught me, this guy named Roger Anthony. Passed away a while ago, but And he said, you have to go with an Armageddon scenario in your mind. He goes, it's almost like explore the darkest, most terrible thing that could happen and accept that that could be a reality.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, and then think about what you would do. And so I go, well, give me an example, Roger. And he said, well, imagine that the world went nuclear and went to an apocalypse, or there was a zombie invasion or alien invasion or whatever it is. And it's like Mad Max, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, how would you do? And I was thinking, crap, gosh, what would my family do and all that? And I go, gosh, I would assemble a pretty darn awesome colony and become a pretty killer merchant and hire a bunch of really strong people that were good with rifles to protect the perimeter and protect us from the zombie incursion and broker water and gasoline and bullets or whatever would need to happen. And he goes, now you laugh at it, but like if the world went that bad, like you'd go on, you know, or not. And then he goes, well, what's the worst case scenario? And this was an interesting one. And I go, I guess I die and my family dies. It's like pretty worst case scenario. It's like you're dead. And he goes, well, then how bad would it be? And he goes, you've been a pretty decent guy. And I go, well, in my later years, yeah, I'm trying to help out a little bit, you know. And he goes, do you have any sort of religious beliefs or, you know? And I go, I believe that we, you know, will go somewhere. I do believe in a way. And he goes, well, good. He goes, and then so the worst case scenario is you're going to go somewhere good because, you know, you did some of the right things or whatnot. So you feel at peace with that. So are you afraid to die or if the worst case scenario comes? And after running that through my head, I realized no. And that was a major shift in my mind of removing the fear, which helped me move beyond just computers, right?
Yeah.
Trying different things, because you know the old saying, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail?
Yeah.
Right? But that's where like the big substance comes from, right? It's like going a little bit beyond that and trying those things totally out of it. And this is why it's pretty exciting. So I've been talking to a lot after the stock market crash, or not the adjustment or what you want to call it. And you've seen real estate kind of being affected in a different bunch of things. Talking to these old mentors. And my rule, old mentor, worth more than $100 million and have been doing it for more than 3 decades. That's pretty good, right? Oh, if you've been doing it 3 decades plus, you're $100 million. Those guys typically know what's going on. And the funny thing that I found out by talking to the old guys, the old Jedi, and the old gals too, is they have a template and a system process, most of them do, of success and a rule book and a way that they've all come to an internal and external realization of how they're going to pre-react to things, which is cool. It's almost like training yourself to that way. And one of these mentors said to me, and this particular gentleman was worth $470 million in 1999 and just grown it from there. So today, billions, right? And he said, you know, the big thing is this, though, is you're going to have to predetermine how you're going to react when that horrible thing happens. Like, what is your pre-decided move? Predetermine. And I was like, wow. And then always ask yourself what the opportunity is. And it's kind of cool. You only took 2 months to get through your Amazon kind of meltdown thing, right? About 2 months, a little halo, a little whiskey, or whatever it took, right?
Yep. And
you got through that. So and it sounds like now, if that ever happens again, you've already predetermined what you're going to do.
Right.
That's a big lesson, man. That's huge. I love that. And it's so weird how the universe brings it all together.
Yeah.
You know? So let me ask you this. What do you see yourself, man, like, let's see, 32 now, right?
Yep, 32.
What do you see yourself, man, when you're like 50 or 60, man? Where do you see yourself like farther down the horizon? What are you going to be doing? What are you and your wife going to be accomplishing or giving to, or you're a pretty charitable dude now. In fact, that's what actually brought us together for the podcast again, is we were supporting Operation Underground Railroad together, and you're a big supporter of those guys, and bid big and donated big and helped and donated and did wonderful things. So your heart is a good heart, man. And a lot of guys let the money go
right back at you, man. You did the same thing, donated and did.
You know.
So.
But that law of reciprocation or reciprocity or whatever they would call it is huge, right? Like, the more you give, the more you will get, and you have to give away faster.
Yeah.
Because things will come in faster, and it just the universe works like that, right?
It totally does. It's crazy how that works, but yeah.
So where do you see yourself, man? What's your big, where do you see yourself in those 20, 25 years from now?
Man, I don't spend a lot of time thinking about that. I probably should do more goal setting and things. I know that I just keep tracking along. We're doing our thing. I mean, we're definitely moving more towards doing more to help people, I suppose, teaching people different things. But yeah, I mean, I want to just keep doing what we're doing. I want to keep growing. I want to keep learning, keep expanding. There's no way I can keep doing what I'm doing now and being content. And so it's gonna keep growing and blowing up. But I don't know what the next steps are. I'm just as opportunities arise and keep my eyes open for doors that aren't open yet, and making sure I open those doors up and find out. But yeah, that's it.
Well, the big one is now, gosh, you do have a lot of time in front of you, so there's a lot of stuff you could accomplish and just create, and it's amazing how much it can be. And right now, you've already started your real estate accumulation, right?
Yeah.
Equities accumulation, as well as your business. And so I think you're diversified pretty well. And if you just continue that pattern, you'll find yourself. If your real estate acquisition, equities acquisition, and scaling whatever businesses that you own and run continue for a couple decades, fast forward, I think you'll find yourself with a vast real estate empire, a vast stock portfolio as well, if as long as that hasn't blown up. Or we're all going to be wearing weird leather outfits, and we have a bunch of dudes with machine guns, and we're brokering gasoline and like Mad Max.
Hey, I'm prepped for that too, man. I got a safe, a couple of them. We'll be good.
Driving around in the Lambo with the chainmail on, right?
That's right.
That's crazy. Let's see. Anything on the bucket list for your family?
Man, the bucket list keeps changing, I suppose, because it started off where it's like, man, I'd love to go on a family vacation, and then it's like we started doing things, and it's like, oh, let's just go. And now it's kind of turned into we just do whatever we want to do.
That's good.
And so, I mean, it's my wife and I's 10-year anniversary this year.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. So we're like, let's go to Europe. So we went to Europe, spent 10 days out there, did a bunch of stuff. We went to the Vatican.
Oh, nice.
Which I've never really wanted to do because I don't like lines. And so the deal I had with my wife is if she figures out a way for there not to be lines, then I'll go.
Wow.
And so she worked out this whole thing. We actually went in before they opened. We went in with the keys to the Vatican. There's over 3,000 keys. Went in. We opened up all the doors. We walked in places you're not allowed to walk.
What?
We touched, it was crazy. Inside of the Sistine Chapel, my wife opened the door to the Sistine Chapel. We went in. We're taking photos. Well, you're not allowed to take photos in there. They let us take photos. The whole shebang. It was crazy.
You'll have to set me up with that tour guide, man.
Oh, it was insane. And
wow.
So it's similar to business. I think everything crosses over. If you can succeed in business, you can succeed in marriage, you can succeed in relationships, you can succeed in travel. And at some point, I just do whatever I want to do. So if tomorrow I woke up and said, hey, I want to go to California or I want to go to Mexico, that's what I do. And if I want to take the family, I take them. And it just doesn't even matter anymore. Whatever I want to do, I'll just do it.
That's cool, man.
So
that's the dream, I think, for everyone to do that. That's a pretty common theme you see with a lot of people in your situation of success, which is beautiful. So let me recap a couple things here. Boy, I took some notes here. So really focusing and giving a deeper look into what's working and not working.
Mm-hmm.
And really looking into that. That's a big one. Let's see. And as far as internet marketing goes, a lot of being at the top of the fold and understanding as far as your photos and analyzing what's working and what's not working and how you're interacting. But a lot of that is notating the experience.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, a lot of it, even notating or just being conscious of it. I mean, being conscious of why something failed or why it succeeded, not just that it did succeed, but that it succeeded and then these are the things that I did. And then, as you duplicate those things, you can find out whether or not it's, reoccurring that, oh, if I do ABC, I'm consistently going to get better results. Or if I don't do ABC, I'm not going to get those results.
We have a log, actually, of every Facebook post that we've done, and we measure all the engagement and the likes and comments or whatnot, just for Facebook, for example, since 2008. And there's just hundreds, if not thousands of posts. And then we sort them. Mm-hmm. And then we pick out the top 100. And when we get a new marketing guide, he's like, what do I need to post? I'm like, just look at that list, man. those are winners, man.
Yeah.
And he does them. And even if they were used in 2008 and we've re-engaged it in 2018 with a little different graphics, a little more modern spin or tweak, we find the engagement is probably pretty close to the same as effective because human beings are human beings, right?
Right.
And their emotional response
They're super predictable.
can be pretty good. Whereas so it doesn't always have to be new, but it seems like movies are that way too, right? Like every new movie that you see that gets raving reviews is almost a rehash of a movie we saw when we were little kids.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
It's just modernized and it's fresh and new to all the kids seeing it now, right?
We
so
just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, this is great, man. This new Star Wars is great. You know, it's pretty cool to see that. So people can find you. Where's the best place again?
Probably Instagram.
Instagram.
At Jason Harwood. Yeah.
At Jason Harwood. Watch the adventures of your life there.
Yeah.
So friends, you've been listening to Dan's Millionaire Code podcast. And again, Jason's here and friends come on to share with you how they built something out of nothing. There's no fee that they're charging or I'm charging. It's absolutely free. But what I do ask you to do is this. If you find it beneficial, execute on it. But also share it with friends and family. And if you really like it, rate it really well. Give us a 5-star rating so other people can see it too. And that way you can pay it forward though. And if you had some successes from anything you've learned here, feel free to direct message me and tell me your story, or Jason, some of his stuff has helped you as well. Guys and girls, those messages coming from you of what's worked in my mind is more valuable to me than making money. I mean, it feels good to be able to pay that forward. And if it works for you again and you're sharing it, you can make a big influence on this world. One thing though that I like to also make all my students promise voluntarily is any gains that you do have from what you've learned here, any gains, and you got to measure that in your mind and on your spreadsheet. Take 10% of that net gains and donate it to charity. Give it to a worthy cause. Save the dogs, the cats, the kids, clean water, whatever you support, whatever your heart is, make sure that you give that 10% because I tell you, friends, it'll come back exponentially. Dan's Millionaire Code, we're on Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, we're everywhere. Just follow us there and we'll keep you updated with more fresh podcasts every week. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Jason. You're the man.